Our first edition of Frontier Opening Bell today. Welcome to the show. I'm Temple Ashajo. We've got Bosin FY joining us. He's our executive editor here at Frontier Africa Reports. Bosin, thank you for coming through this Monday morning. Let's tee
Thank
off
you.
with the markets as always. Nigerian exchange on the week-to-date basis was positive 2.60% at 37,000 position. BRVM stock exchange in Cote d'Ivoire was also positive by 54 basis points on Friday. Egyptian exchange was at 10,305.02, positive by 25 basis points on Sunday. Then the Nairobi Securities Exchange was down week to date by 44 basis points, and JSE, which is the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, was marginally down on Friday by 0.07%. We understand that the turnover of the Nairobi Securities Exchange is quite significant at this point in time, almost more than 40% basically embossing. We do hope you help us to break that down as we launch deep into the East African markets at this point, where Kenya Central Bank accepts bid worth 16.6 billion shillings at weekly treasury bills auction. The Nairobi Securities Exchange weekly turnover rises 42.5% to 3.37 billion shillings. Family Bank rises 4.42 billion shillings in bond auction, or 147.3% subscriptions recorded. In Tanzania, Delbit International BSL Infrastructure win oil storage deal. Merge Exchange also has just admitted Wangi Kenyan International Holding shares. Bosun.
Yes, Temple, thank you so much. Just a quick one on the Nigerian bourse. The index went down about 2.6% last week. I guess that was a bit of a typo there, just to start it. Thank you. The rest of the markets were a little bit mixed again. Across across the regions of the continent. But again, when we're looking at East Africa here, Tempo, the family bank in Kenya is an unlisted bank, by the way, but one of the largest bank in East Africa and in Kenya, to be precise, doing a bond auction, oversubscription 147.3%. Temple, you know what that means. It means that everybody is buying in fast and furiously into this particular bank, 4.42 billion shillings in local currency. That is a whole lot of money, and they'll be able to do that. Remember, this bank came in with very good, some very positive numbers for 2020, despite the pandemic last year. A number of other banks in Kenya came in with a negative, not so good earnings. So this, as the saying goes, keep it in the family, by the way. So with family, you can't go wrong with family. Family comes first anytime. So I think some Kenyans believe in family bank, and I think they're putting their support behind it. The weekly central bank auction by the Kenya Central Bank, about 16.6 billion shillings, is just about the whole central banks across the frontier Africa raising local debt locally. Remember, Nigeria last week, we had the debt management office. The June bond auction was overbooked again because of the deficit of about 3.3 trillion that the government is looking into its 2021 account. So the DMO started overbooking its monthly subscription of Naira bonds to raise funds from the market. So that is already there. The weekly turnover for the Nairobi bourse, 42.5%, 3.37 billion. Very active trading week. We saw a similar active trading week in South Africa, but foreign investors were the net buyers or the net sellers. So we saw massive outflow from the South African JSE the week we just finished as well. Tanzania's oil storage deal, the whole pipeline that Tanzania, Uganda, and others are planning is quite in progress, is work in progress right now. So I'm sure there's a whole lot more we're going to learn about who gets what as they get to become oil and gas start to become a major story tempo in East African corridor. You know, it's agriculture and tourism. Between Uganda and Tanzania, between agriculture, tourism, tea, coffee, exports. Now they're adding hydrocarbon to the conversation. Let's see how it all goes. Let's hope that they don't get infected with the kind of the resource costs that we've seen here in places like Nigeria as well. Merge Exchange admitting the Wanji Kenyan International Holding shares. Well, that's on the island of Seychelles. They can do a few of those things and continue to add more to this kind of specialized exchange, as it were, moving forward.
Thank you very much, boss. And let's
Thank
move on to the West African and Nigerian headlines. Google rolls out $6 million program to support Africa's startups. PZ Cussons profits jumped over 125.3% to over 1.8 billion naira in full year 2020-2021. Coronation Insurance profit also jumps over to 79%. Infinity Trust Merchant Bank has got projects a profit after tax of 160.3 million naira in the third quarter of the year, which we're about to get into. JSE Bank on payments or OK's payments of 883.9 million naira final dividend. Ghana diaspora remittances hit $3.6 billion, a 5% increase in the year 2020. Bosun, you got this corporate headline, and of course,
well,
Ghana.
you know, I'm going to come in first on the diaspora side, remittances
Yes,
side. Again, this is good news. $3.6 billion last year to help the FX reserves of the Ghana Central
despite the
Center for the
pandemic
Bank
and
of Ghana.
lockdowns.
Tampo, you can say that. You can say that again. Ghanaians I like the way. Look at the story last week about the Zimbabweans as well. The first 5 months of this year, they've done north of $500 million US, about 520 something, mainly 530 million US by the Zimbabweans. These are the Ghanaians as well, and these are official figures. By the way, if you add on the unofficial figures, I'm sure these figures will go a little bit higher. So I say, well, kudos to the Ghanaians in diaspora who keep remembering their country, their home country, their homes, their families. And part of this, you know, Temple is not just about bread and tea, bread, tea, and butter. Some of this will go into into SMEs in Ghana, as you will expect. The startups are increasing in number in Ghana and in Nigeria. So some of this you expect Temple will go into fintech and a few other guys who want to say, look, I can help my brother, I can help my sister who is writing a software application, whatever, back home in Accra and elsewhere, and all of that. So this is one good news from Ghana, and we saw last week from Zimbabwe as well. In terms of Nigeria's earnings, the PZ Cussons, I know you know this company very well, Temple, a very big HCP, a household consumer products company, 125% jump in net profit. I think they just made a very major comeback. 2020, 2019 was not so good for PZ Cussons, but it looks like 2019 was not so good. This 2020 to 2021 looks a whole lot better. Maybe after the lockdown and whatever, they've been able to find a way around. They raised prices. Everyone knows that most of the consumer goods have raised prices, from soft drinks to beverages to alcoholic to food and whatever, tea, coffee. Everybody's raised prices already. So this is helping them. Then a few of their products getting into the bottom line of the market. So that is good. Coronation Insurance, I know you know that that's now used to be WAPIC Insurance. Now Coronation, after they put it over, profit about 80%. That's quite some good news for the first quarter of the year. Infinity Trust is a small mortgage lender, by the way. That's an outlook for third quarter starting on Thursday, July the 1st. Then you look at JSE Bank, which is your non-interest bank, by the way, Temple. But I'm sure you know the Google story is going to be top of the pile, by the way, considering the fact that this is supporting startups across Africa. And as you know, Nigeria, Kenya, Tanzania, Egypt, Ghana, yes, are the frontliners right now.
Absolutely. And of course, we understand Tony Elumelu Foundation will be benefiting some $3 million as a middleman to be able to also disburse to women and those that will benefit basically from it. Thank you very much, Bosin, for those analysis on the Western African
Yeah, that'll
Nigerian
be great.
markets. Let's head on now to the South African markets, where Johannesburg Stock Exchange listed half-year headline earnings likely to come in between 24 and 32% lower. Old Mutual to unbundle the rest of 12.2% of 19.4% stake in Nedbank. Tongaat Hullet delays financial statements till July the 13th. Lucara Diamond is to raise $38 million for Botswana Karowe mine. And First Mutual Properties posts 50% in pre-tax profit for the full year 2021. Bosin, you probably want to start off with the Old Mutual story, the unbundling that commenced in 2018, right?
Yes, that unbundling. Old Mutual is one of the largest single shareholder, institutional shareholder in Nedbank. Now they're trying to take that out down significantly 12.2%. Nedbank is one of the biggest names in South African banking industry. So an old mutual, there's been two of them are quite old by age, by the way, if you look at the corporate age. So both of them are, Nedbank is not a young bank by the way. So both of them are old. And there's been a long relationship that I think has been very beneficial to both Nedbank and Old Mutual. So we'll see the details of this as we move forward, what that means for the future of Nedbank. Lucara Diamond's deal in Botswana for the Karowe mine, 38 million, just about, circa $38 million. It's about, look at how the diamond sales is coming back. I think we reported last week that diamond sales have gone up seriously. DBS, which is the world's number one, has done about $2.5 billion since year 2021 started. So, and then because the as we see more vaccine and vaccinations and all of that, those who are ultra wealthy, those who have deep pockets, are buying more of diamonds now, and you've seen that taper down the price of gold. We lost the $2,000 an ounce on gold. We lost the 1900. We're just hanging around the 1700 right now. I don't think we're seeing $2,000 per ounce for gold anytime soon, because there have been a lot of buying by reserve banks and by central banks around the world for gold last year, very furiously. Now they're spending on stimulus and all of that. So those who are wealthy are going back into purchase of diamonds. So it's a good time for Botswana to get back. Botswana lost quite a bit of its shirt last year, sweated a bit under the pandemic because diamond sales went down. Folks were not doing the kind of marriages or weddings they want and all of that. Everybody's saying, I love you only on Zoom and on Twitter, not face to face. But, it's not as fanciful and as glamorous, as interesting when you're presenting diamonds for a girl online. It's not as grainy physically. So it's more appreciated when you do that physically. So everybody's going back to diamond, put them in their safe. And then, of course, the JSE half-year headline earnings forecast 24 to 32% lower. We'll try to get why this is going to happen. It was a good year last year for the GSE. Why this year is going to be different is anyone's guess.
Probably some exit actually, Bosun, because there's been a whole lot of entry into that market last year as well. Thank you very much, Bosun. Let's now finish off with the Northern African market headlines, where banks' financial position reaches some 7.5 trillion Egyptian pounds in the first quarter of this year, says the Central Bank of Egypt. Misr Chemical Industries logs 29.4 million Egyptian pounds profit for 2020-2021 full financial year. Commercial International Bank names Hussein Abaza as Chief Executive Officer. Tunisia tourism revenues down 34% to 706 million dinars as of June the 20th this year. AMMC approves Attijariwafa Bank's capital hike via dividend conversion. Bosun, let's hear your thoughts. We know that tourism has been down, hitting the floors all through 2020, and that probably explains the decline of 34% in Tunisia this time.
Yes, of course, you're very correct, Tempo. We haven't really seen major uptake. But, we saw the news just about a week or so ago that MSC Cruise were back in Algeria sometime in July next month, and all of that. They left there since the political issue they had in the North African country since about 7 years ago, since the Arab Spring, I think, thereabout. So let's hope it all benefits Tunisia next door as well. Revenue down nearly 35%. That's quite in the water, considering the influx of Europeans that you always have into Tunisia from across the Mediterranean nearly all year round. So that's part of the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. And then again, you find hotels, flights, and what have you, all getting knocked down by that particular virus pandemic situation. Then the Misr capital, Misr Chemical Industries, logging about nearly 30 billion Egyptian pounds in profit for 2020. Well, that's an industrial business, by the way, and you always make money if you're industrial goods. Remember the BOC gases story as well. Folks made quite some money they were in business last year. Then Attijariwafa Bank was the best bank North Africa at the last week's African Bankers
Yeah.
Annual Award, if you remember. So, this Moroccan bank, headquartered in Morocco, I think they have a few footprints across the Sahel region as well, outside the home country in Morocco. Capital raising via dividend conversion. Well,
Oh.
that's a proposal to shareholders. If they say yes, then off it goes. But I think the bank is doing so well, such that I'm not sure the shareholders will say no to this capital raising. Again, you need to be strong enough to continue to do business post-pandemic. And then on a final note, the bank's financial position in Egypt at about 7.5 trillion Egyptian pounds in Q1, according to the central bank latest report. I think it's good news because the stronger the financial position of your banks, especially your commercial banks, you know, Temple, that's the better for you as well as a central bank. Because if the financial position of your banks, local banks, are weak, then of course you know you're in trouble, because that means they'll come knocking on your door as the central banker to say we need liquidity, we need backup, we need sovereign support and all of that. So it's good news if the stronger the position of your banks, your commercial banks, the better for you as a
Thank you
regulator,
very much,
financial
Bosun,
regulator,
for
that
all
is.
of these insights and perspectives shared on these headlines. Well, then, thank you very much. Bosun FY, Executive Editor here at Frontier Africa Reports, and this is the very first edition of Frontier Opening Bell for this week. I'm Temple Ashaju signing off. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.